Hi everyone, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I wanted to share with you guys my recipe for everyone's summertime favorite cheeseburgers, but not just any cheeseburgers. We're going to be making some caramelized onion bacon cheeseburgers with brioche buns, homemade seasoned patties, and my secret burger sauce. These burgers are everything. They're so juicy and savory, everything a burger should have. I'm also going to be layering in some tomatoes and lettuce, and that bacon, it's so crispy along with those caramelized onions. You guys are going to love these. They're perfect for any summer barbecue. Let's get things started, and today I'm going to be starting with the homemade seasoned patties. These are just incredible. Today I'll be using 2 pounds of ground beef. This will make 6 to 8 burgers. I picked up some organic grass-fed beef from Costco, which is my absolute favorite. Now I am not one to shy away from a frozen patty, so if you don't have the time to make these patties from scratch, you could just grab some out of the freezer. I just recommend using the seasonings that I'll be using today. Now let's put them together. First up, we have 1.5 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper, and I'll be adding in 2 teaspoons of my favorite burger seasoning. It's this roasted garlic and herb. It adds so much incredible flavor to the patties. Sprinkle in, and I recommend using this even if you're using frozen patties. And then dig in with your hands and make sure that all that meat is really well seasoned. I've taken out my food scale and I wrapped it really well with plastic wrap so I don't get any ground beef on it, and I'll be using little slips of parchment paper. I'm going to weigh each patty out to about 6 ounces. I'm going to shape this burger very lightly into a ball, and then I'll be using a little round cookie cutter to shape and just press the burger meat into there and inside. You don't want to compress these too much, just to get them a nice even shape. Perfect. How good does that look? And I'm going to transfer my patties into the refrigerator and let them chill in there for at least 30 minutes. When they're chilled, they're going to hold up their shape a little bit better on the grill. You can even make these the day before and just keep them in the refrigerator. Meanwhile, let's get started on our bacon, our caramelized onion, and my incredibly delicious burger sauce. And the easiest way to make a large batch of bacon, especially when you're making a lot of cheeseburgers, is to make it in the oven. So I've preheated mine to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. I've lined a large baking sheet with foil, and then I'm placing the bacon onto a wire rack. And the foil is just gonna help keep the pan nice and clean so I don't have a lot of cleanup work later. And I like to prepare at least 2 slices of bacon per cheeseburger. That way you get lots of that smoky, crispy flavor. I'm going to bake my bacon at 425 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes until it's golden and crispy. If your bacon is a little bit on the thicker side, it might require a couple extra minutes. Next up, let's make our caramelized onions. So I'm preheating a large frying pan over medium-high heat. I'm going to add in about 3 tablespoons of butter. Let that butter melt completely. And into my melted butter, I'm going to add in 1 large sliced sweet onion. Toss the onions with the melted butter, and I'm going to let these onions caramelize. You want them to be a rich golden brown color, and that could take anywhere from 6 to 10 minutes. My onions are nicely caramelized, and now I am ready to add my next ingredient. I'm going to pour in 3/4 cups of chicken broth. And then just let this cook away until that chicken broth is completely reduced. This is going to cook the onions further and make them extra soft. And these caramelized onions are almost done. Once there's just a little bit of broth left in the pan, you want to keep stirring it so it doesn't burn until it's nicely reduced. These are going to be so good on top of cheeseburgers. I'm going to remove the onions from the heat and kind of tilt the pan to let all the butter sink down into one side. And then transfer these into a small little ramekin. And now I want to show you guys how I make my favorite burger sauce. So I have about 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. To that I'm going to be adding in about 2 to 3 tablespoons of ketchup, a tablespoon of mustard, And this sauce is so good because it has all those incredible elements that you want on a cheeseburger in one sauce. And about 1.5 tablespoons of relish. I also like to sprinkle in a little bit of garlic powder, about 1/4 teaspoon, and a little bit of smoked paprika. The smoked paprika adds a really great flavor element, and then just mix everything together. That's it. It's a super easy sauce to make, but it's so good. It's the perfect complement for any cheeseburger. And now I'm outside preheating my grill on high heat until it reaches about 600 degrees Fahrenheit. That way my burgers are going to be charred on the outside and still juicy on the inside. And once my grill is nice and hot, I'm going to grab my patties, and this is where the parchment paper comes in real handy. We're just going to slap them right onto the hot grill and give them a couple inches in between so they have some space to grill. And I'm going to let my burgers grill until they're nicely charred on the first side. You don't want to flip them over too early. And that usually takes anywhere from 5 to even 8 minutes. I'm going to close my grill lid to cook the burgers faster. And as soon as they're ready on the first side, I'm going to grab a metal spatula and flip them over. These smell so good. And while my burgers are grilling on the bottom rack, I'm going to start toasting my brioche buns on the top rack. Just open these up. And I get my brioche buns at Whole Foods. These are just the best, the ultimate bread for burgers. And when my burgers are just about done cooking, I'm going to add slices of extra sharp sliced cheddar cheese on top. This cheese is the perfect complement to these cheeseburgers. And to really melt the cheese, get it really nice and melty, you want to close the lid and just let it sit there for about 30 to 45 seconds. And when my cheeseburgers are all done, I'm just going to grab my spatula, slide them onto a clean tray. And before I put together a cheeseburger for myself, I wanted to show you guys a really cool way that you could serve these for your next summer barbecue. So what I did was I placed these lettuce leaves kind of around the edges to add a little bit of color, and then I have my bacon. I have transferred my burger sauce into a little bowl. I have my cheeseburgers here. I also have my caramelized onions and a ramekin on the side, and I love to use heirloom tomatoes, so I sliced a huge heirloom tomato for my burgers. I also like to have a little bit of red onion on the side, just in case somebody doesn't want the caramelized onion. Have a little bit of ketchup, and of course our toasted patties. And let's put one of these together. So I'm going to grab one of my brioche buns and my burger sauce. I like to spread this on both patties, so you have a little bit of that incredible sauce with each bite. And you don't need too much, just a little bit. I mean, you can add more if you want more, but I personally think this is perfect right here. Next, I'm going to add some leafy lettuce onto my bottom bun. You want to add this lettuce before you add the tomato, and that is going to keep your bun nice and toasted instead of soggy. We don't want that tomato right on the bread. And then you could grab a slice or two of some heirloom tomato. And before I add my patty, I'm actually going to season the tomato with a little bit of salt. And then for my beef patty, I like to add a layer of ketchup on the opposite side from the cheese. This is just going to make the cheeseburger extra juicy, and you have a little bit of that ketchup flavor in there. Drop it right on top. Next up, our bacon. I like to split the bacon slices in half and then add those on top. You want 2 slices of bacon per burger or more, just depending on how much you want. And last but not least, our caramelized onions. Those are going to go right on top. How good does this look, guys? Just heavenly. Can't wait to enjoy this. Add that patty on top, and this cheeseburger is all ready to be enjoyed. And that's it, guys, for my caramelized onion bacon cheeseburger. These turned out so good. I can't wait to dig in and enjoy. For the full list of ingredients, head on down the video description box, and I'll have the full recipe up on my website. And now, time to see if I can fit this cheeseburger into my mouth. So we do have to kind of compress it down just a little bit. Oh, this looks so good. The secret to keeping the cheeseburger together is tuck your little finger behind the bun, and then keep your fingers on top like that. Perfect. Let's see if we can't fit this in. Now this is one impressive and incredibly delicious cheeseburger. I could have one of these every day if I could. So incredibly delicious and savory. I love how juicy the meat is on the inside. And then you have the bacon, the caramelized onion, a little bit of that tomato, and that sauce. That burger sauce makes this even better. So good. Time for another bite. If you are looking to take your cheeseburger game to another level, this recipe is for you. Every single bite is just pure cheeseburger heaven. It's so juicy and flavorful and satisfying. I love those homemade patties. They're seasoned with a roasted garlic. So incredibly delicious. And I love having all these different classic elements. Like we have the ketchup, and then we have all those classic flavors from the burger sauce, the relish, a little bit of mustard, and then having that sharp cheddar cheese in there is also fantastic. But when you add the bacon and the caramelized onion, it just takes this to a whole new level. You guys are going to love this. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this recipe at home as much as I do, and I'll see you next time with a new recipe.